Terry, are you ready?
Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Kim Childs.
And I'm Terry Schneider. And this is our Busy Burnett Real Estate and Lifestyle Podcast.
We love what we do, and we hope you enjoy our podcast.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
So today I thought a fun little thing that we would do for our podcast today would be about our year. What our year's been like. What do you think?
Like none other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to just introduce everybody. Our whole team is here. So Kim, myself, Darcy, and Beth, we're all here. We're going to be talking about the year that we've had. It's been a really interesting year with kind of coming out of COVID, being in COVID, the sales, craziness. So we're going to talk a little bit about this craziness that we've seen this year. So one of the first things I want to ask is, what did you see different this year that was different than last year? Kim, what do you think?
Oh, I kind of feel like it was a teeny bit more business as usual. So last year, COVID kind of came up in March, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, what do we do? I even remember my first listing I did after COVID was out in Sandy, Oregon, and it was a referral from some prior clients, their daughter. And she hands me the keys to the house. She goes, I don't know if I should be doing this now. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I understand. I said, but houses are still selling. The world doesn't come to an end. We're just going to do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, I feel like people were a little more adapted already to some of the procedures, and there wasn't as much fear surrounding getting your home on the market.
Right. I agree on that part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Darcy, what did you see differently?
I thought it looked like prices rose a little quicker than expected. There was a listing early in the year that I had to call the pendings just to kind of be able to figure out an accurate price for the house that was going to be going on the market. And what was interesting was everyone shared that.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that information is not disclosed until it's marked sold, but agents were so quick to share, and they were doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was different. Never seen that before.
Well, and with that, even it was hard to really kind of price, because you could only go back. I was going back a month. I couldn't go back 2 months. I couldn't go back 3 months to get a price on a house, because it had changed so drastically. Because of one of the things I'm going to say that happened was the multiple offers. There were so many multiple offers that were happening that it pushed those prices up, and so you couldn't get a good, clean comp that you felt comfortable with, at least in my opinion. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, I was going to comment on the multiple offer situation. So November 2020, inventory went to 0.1 months, and that was very, very low. And it stayed that way between 0.1 and 0.7 for like 8 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happened is, if you're going to get ready to sell your home in January, some agents are looking back 6 months,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're going back too far. And they're seeing these prices that were quite a bit less, and there's pent-up demand. Not a lot happens over the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So they're putting homes out there at too low a price
Right.
for the demand and the inventory levels.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens, buyers get real excited. They're like, hey, this is great.
This is a great house.
So, I'm
exactly.
gonna, I've got a $400,000 house. I'm going to, and you get, I'll make an offer, but I'm only qualified to buy at 400, right? And pretty soon, it sells at 450 or something like that. And that kind of fueled the multiple offers, because people were looking back too far and not doing like you were only going a month back. And like you did, Darcy, where you checked with the pendings to see what's really happening, real time.
Yeah. Well, we were learning.
Oh, yeah.
Because going back 6 months is something that we used to do, 3 months, just to get something a little bit more accurate. But it was a huge learning experience, not just for our buyers and sellers, but for us.
Oh, yeah.
As agents, on how do I price this house and what do I do? So.
And then in the summer, I noticed less multiple offers.
Mm-hmm.
That was tempered a bit. I don't know if buyers just said, hey, enough. I can remember talking about it with you guys and with some other agents, and it just, where you'd normally get 10, you'd see 3. I actually had that happen with a listing as well in West Lynn. I was expecting, in the double digits, and it was, I think we got 4.
Yeah, I saw that too. But still, there's multiple offers going on right now. There's a house behind me that it has multiple offers already. So so it's still happening. But I only had 2 buyers this year that there was no multiple offers. The rest of them
I
were all
think-
multiple offer scenarios.
Two things kind of came together that maybe make that happen, less multiple offers. And one was is that agents were realizing how to actually price the home closer to market. And so those people who thought they were going to get this big deal, right, are so excited about the price point, it was now priced where it should be, and maybe they were not going to compete because
Right.
they knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is I think there was a little bit of buyer fatigue, Darcy. I
Yeah.
think buyers just got tired of making these offers and not getting the house and being a little more selective. And I have some first-time millennial buyers that just made a home, or an offer on a home. It might be the third or fourth that they've done, but it's the first one that they're super excited about. And as far as I know, there's only 2 offers in on it right now. It's a great house, but it was priced at the top of what it should be, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my buyers did go over a little bit, but the agent wanted an appraisal gap for that difference,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, because they're learning that
They're learning.
it's not going to appraise out.
No.
Yeah.
So if you want to snap it up, right, unless you're cash,
Mhm.
you're looking at an appraisal gap.
Yeah.
But only 2 offers right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great house, by the way.
Well, another thing I noticed this year was that homes were coming on the market like on Thursday and Friday, and they were already pending by Sunday evening, Monday morning.
Oh, yeah.
So you could tell your sellers, let's get the house ready. We're going to put it on the market on Friday. We'll have offers ready to go, and we'll see you on Monday, and we'll talk about your offers. And that I
It
saw
was quite a
that,
formula.
It was, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it was kind of nice, but then again, everybody was in the house on the weekend. It was lines of
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
getting in
Yeah.
to see the homes.
Yeah.
So another question I have for all of you is, how did you run your business differently because of this, of the way our market was? Did you run your business differently?
I just think that communication was really key.
Mm-hmm.
And I think showing factual information to both sellers and buyers, right? So they can
Mhm.
make the best decisions for themselves. That happens under any market, though. But I think especially true here because there was a time where sellers were thinking their home was maybe worth more than it was because they're thinking, well, gosh, if in May my next door neighbor sold the home for X, right, and I'm selling in July, I'm sure it's worth at least this much more. Is it really, right?
Mhm,
What was
right.
happening during those times? That was right about the time that it kind of softened just a little bit.
Right.
And so there was just some real time things happening that we just needed to make sure we had our arms around, like you did, Darcy and
Mhm.
Terry, and also communicate with our clients so they could understand and make their decisions based on that,
Right.
and not just on emotion. I'm going to sell my home for top dollar.
Right.
I'm going to sell it for 20,000 more than my neighbor did yesterday. That kind of thing.
Yeah, because there was a lot of that out there.
There was a lot.
I had to be really diligent in the mornings to make sure I sent my list or sent new homes to my buyers, and it wasn't just sending it, but it was calling them and sending them text messages. Hey, here's these houses, and really,
Because they're not going to be out there
because
very
they're not-
long.
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
was a weekend that
Mhm.
they were going to be there. So if you really want to see it,
Yep.
and
You
it
had
was-
to act fast.
we had to definitely act fast. So that was one of the things.
And I'll tell you one thing too that really assisted with that, Terry, is having our team.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we do things on the weekend, or we're out of town, or whatever, and we have, I showed homes for others. Beth did, Darcy did, Terry
Oh, yeah.
did, and that is crucial so that our buyers, right, get really great representation, and they're not going to miss out if it's a
Right.
home they're really excited about.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because I know I was out of town,
Couple
this year.
times, but,
exactly.
Yeah.
Need to go travel and see my kids.
But it felt good to know that they were going to be handled well.
Exactly.
Right, and they
Yeah.
weren't left wondering, what do I do? Who do I
Yeah.
call?
Yeah.
Nope, here's
No,
exactly.
Have a team behind you.
Mhm.
Love that.
Well, so and we kind of alluded on this a little bit, but how did that change for your listings? What did you do differently with your sellers?
I would imagine you had to be ready to hit the market because you had one chance and not a lot of time.
Right. You had to be ready.
I think it's really true. I think some sellers kind of got in their minds, and I know you dealt with this a little bit, Terry.
Mhm.
You might have, Darcy, I don't know, but some sellers got in their mind where, well, I don't really have to do much. I'm just going to throw this out here, and I'm going to,
Yeah.
right? And go ahead, you guys. What was your?
I had that.
What happened?
Well, just tried to point out how important it was if they wanted to get that top dollar, they did need to do some improvements, but it was tough. It was tough. They really didn't think they had to do anything. They just didn't see the need.
Interesting. So just the opposite of what I was saying is they kind of assumed.
They think we just throw it on the market, don't need to do
Didn't
anything.
have to
That's
do
what
it.
I had with one seller in particular. And that was tough. Luckily, the wife understood the value
got
of
it.
updating. So, that's the way they went. But it was a little tough going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had some of that too, just explaining, top dollar. Someone's going to look at your house, and there's other houses out there. If we can really stage it and we call it cute it up, and
It ensures you get top
you're
dollar.
going to get exactly,
And sell faster, absolutely, positively, and more
exactly.
offers.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
we've seen it time and time and time and time again, which is why we staged.
And
stage.
it's the normal tenets that we always follow, but sometimes sellers especially think they don't need to in this market. It was a fourth home for a family that we were going to be putting on the market, and it was the mom's home of the couple that I was helping. And the son got involved with the daughter for the grandma's house, and he was like, oh, the next door neighbor wants to buy it. And I think this is a great thing. And so she talked to me about it. She said, what do you think? And I said, whatever you think is best for Dolores, the seller. Let's do it. If you think that's the best, let's do it. So they invited the guy in. He did inspections, all these things. Well, he didn't really want to pay what they wanted. And also he said there were all these repairs that need to be done. And then he just kind of sat around, and then he actually was going to have one of his kids rent it, and neither one wanted to. And so finally she said, Kim, I just want to get it on the market. And I said, yeah, I mean, the best way to get top dollar, and that is why our market is structured this way, is to get your home looking as fabulous as possible, right? Pull out all the stops in marketing, take great pictures, cover every base, and get it on the market and let competition take over, right?
Yep.
And we did. And how many offers did we get on that house, Terry?
I think we had 6 offers
Mm-hmm.
over the weekend.
Yeah. And we went on at, was it 485 or 475?
We went on at 475 and we got 515.
So, and they were thrilled. And that formula works, right? And the 475 was basically based on comps. And by the way, every home has pluses and minuses. So this one wasn't particularly updated.
Right.
And so that was the negative, and that's what people were saying why they only wanted to pay X. A different neighbor had wanted to buy it for $419 about 4 months before, right? I said, $419, no way, you can get way more than that. And then, but the other piece of it was a one level.
Right.
And it was a great little neighborhood on a cul-de-sac. And that won over, and people that made offers really wanted a one level.
Yeah. And I remember with those offers coming in, people were changing them.
Mm-hmm.
When they knew that there was more offers, they were, what do I got to do to get this house?
Terry did a
Step
great
it up.
job of communicating with all the buyer agents and making sure they knew this is where it's at. I mean, it's whatever you want, right? We're telling you we want this, 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 and this. Give us whatever you will, and then we'll make a decision based on that. But the sellers were very pleased with the way that all came down, and very glad that they
Good.
didn't sell the next door neighbor.
Yeah, that ended up being a good thing. Wasn't this the one with that great yard?
Yes, it
Had
had a
a
huge yard.
Huge yard. Those kind of things you can't.
Nope. And also
Can't
RV
change it.
parking, right?
Right.
And so think about
Right.
it. One level might be an older couple, RV parking, because these people that were selling it had an RV at one time.
Perfect.
Yeah, you don't
Perfect.
find that everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, another, we've talked about, like, we just recently just said we had appraisal gaps, right? Or we lifted those contingencies. That's some of the things that we did in the offers. We got those on that house that you were just talking about. And people asking for no repairs. That happened on this one. They didn't. In fact, they waived their inspection contingency. The people that got that house.
Which is crazy. You don't see that very
Wow,
often,
yeah.
but you have seen it in this market
Yeah,
a little bit.
We are seeing it. Yeah.
It's hard for me to recommend that to my buyers, especially on anything older. It's very rare that you find a big, huge thing, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And I would worry for them
Yeah.
that if something like that would show up after the fact.
Yeah. I've never had waived it on for any of my buyers. It's just, it would scare me.
Yeah, me too.
Oh my gosh, the roof is caving in.
Whatever, we don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not an inspector.
So, what was the most outrageous or crazy thing that you saw in this market this year? Well, I would tell you, one of them that I was one of 33 offers on a house.
I was
Wow.
thinking about that one,
33.
Terry.
Yeah.
One of 33.
And I'm like, ugh,
That's
That was
I-
early on, wasn't
and
it?
it was early on, and I just like took my glasses and said, we're not getting it because we didn't go up high enough. And I think that one sold for 100,000 over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
So, but that was one of the craziest things I saw. Also, you know, even in the summer when we weren't getting a lot of the multiple offers, I had a listing in King City. I priced it the way I thought it should be priced. It was at $499, and it was running with all the comps. There were some other houses in the neighborhood that were still pending, but you know, it should have been $499, and we got $570 for it. The sellers were shocked.
Wow.
You know, we got the appraisal contingency, everything like that. Then in September, October, when the prices kind of slowed down a little bit, I got a lot of phone calls from that same neighborhood from buyers agents and listing agents because the same floor plan, they were trying to figure out how we sold this house for $570, and they're like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "It was at the height of the market."
Yeah.
It was, and oh, by the way, someone came in and gave us a $50,000 appraisal gap. That's how we got it.
And I think
Wow.
that's what I'm seeing as being the crazy part of this is buyers that come in and just buy the house. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with market value,
Right.
right? What's happened and what else is sold. They decide they want that house, and in order to get it, they're just going to snatch it.
Yeah.
Um,
And do what they have to do.
you know, I had that happen with the listing I had in Oregon City where we went on at 485. We had offers 45, 505, and then somebody comes in at 529, gives a nice appraisal gap, and basically snatched it from everyone else. We had like 12 offers, but nobody was any close to that, and gave us everything we asked for, right? The
Right.
rent back they asked for because they had new construction 60 days,
Mhm.
as is, this, that, this. And so that's what to me was crazy is what buyers were willing to do to buy a house,
Right.
to get it to be their own,
Right.
because they didn't want to be competing with all those $500,000 offers, right? Or, you know, I think the house was 515. They were at 529.
Well, the listing agent that I talked to, she was like, "There's no way I can sell these houses or list it for 570. We're never going to get it."
Mhm.
And of course, you know, their sellers are like, "We should have sold our house 3 months ago,"
I know.
because that was just the way the market was.
So let me ask you, as the newest one of the team, this seems like a crazy year. Is this normal when you look back 5 years? I mean,
No.
has there ever been?
This year is crazy, kind of like the lowest year of the recession was crazy, but it was in a
Okay.
different way. There was 12 months of inventory.
12 months.
Basically, you had to be the shiniest penny, you know what I mean? The best price penny, something compelling to sell your home,
Right.
right? And now it's the other way around.
Because so few buyers.
Yeah, so it was a seller's market. In order to get it sold, you had to be at the top of the heap, meaning the lowest price and the best condition.
Right.
Now it's kind of the other way around. It's a buyer's market. And so they're making that happen the other way. And those are two extremes, really. And in between, it's been all over the board, you know?
And then even within the year, it shifted.
Oh my gosh,
so
yeah.
to be timely and have your information correct and communicate it.
Real estate is a niche market.
Mhm.
It's very much a niche market, right? And so depending on what town you're in, depending on what neighborhood you're in, depending on your location within the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so pricing. Well, listen to this. Look at Zillow, right? They got out of the iBuyer market
Poor
because they
Zillow.
don't know how to price, right? Because they try and do a formula like one fits all. Whereas you've got Darcy calling pendings, right? And you've
Right.
got Terry looking only 1 month back,
Yep.
right? That's, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but I'm
Yeah.
sorry, you need a real estate agent and a good real estate agent.
Well, and what's interesting about that is that the house behind me was sold to Zillow this summer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1657 square feet house, and Zillow bought the house for $586.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just went on the market this week, $535.
And you can see why they're not in the market anymore. But that's what I'm trying to say, because you know, people, and this isn't
Crazy.
about Zillow, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, figuring out market value, it's subjective. It's not just objective.
Right.
And you know, people were looking at Zillow, but Zillow says, I'm like, no. What happens with Zillow is once prices really start going up, they just go with it like, and it's a blanket thing they do with everyone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way. We have to look at individual sales, your neighborhood, your market, right? And really get our arms around that.
And the condition of the house.
Oh,
I mean,
condition's huge.
because it could be, this house could be a dump and this house could be immaculate and updated, and they're going to be priced, if they're the same house in the same neighborhood next door, they're priced the same.
Buyers
Because-
love move-in ready.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. It's so good that we're talking about Zillow, I think, for people listening in that may not know and buy into that and aren't realizing how things had shifted because they don't have feet on the ground going in and looking at each of these houses.
Exactly.
You know, one thing about Zillow, what I like to do is I show people, because they look at it. I don't use this to price, but I do it just to show them, here's what this estimate says your house is. Here's what Redfin, here's what Realtor.com, here's maybe NAR-RPR, the National Association of Realtors. And you're going to find, you know, depending, huge variances between, right? And so it's like, it can't be all of those.
Right.
You know, it may not be
Right.
any, but I will help you figure out based on what has sold and what is pending and what is active, depending on what's happened. And it became harder to do this year,
It did.
but we could do it still.
And we were still successful because we put that extra effort in.
And the other thing is, you guys, whether we're listing or we're, you know, representing buyers, it's so important to understand the market, right?
Mhm.
Because if we're helping listings and we're putting them on too high or way too low,
Right.
are we really, you know, oh yeah, they got multiple offers, but was that the right thing? Okay. If we're helping buyers and we don't understand how high pricing is, that happened to me in January until I really got my arms around it.
Mhm.
They're not going to get the home either because we're not going to advise them on what it really takes.
So in a sentence, does anybody want to throw out what this year, what it was for you? I'm going to say it was wild and crazy for me, just between the market and just everything that I mean, I learned a lot, but it was crazy, I thought.
And this is after years of experience.
Exactly.
And still saying wild and crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to say just, you know, learning and communication was key.
Darcy?
Well, for me, what was kind of, it was a little bit crazy, but I did have to just do an even closer study of the market and talk to agents, broker to broker, talk to you guys to really have my arms wrapped around the market so I could advise clients
Yeah.
the best
Good.
possible way. So that was different. I've never had to do it quite that intently.
To that extent.
Yeah.
I think for me, wild and crazy probably fits it, but I would honestly say fun. And it was fun being an advocate for my clients and also being a consultant, right? And actually bringing the real estate knowledge, because I'm all about like kind of the tenets and the procedures, and they work in any market, but in a crazy market like this, you got to stick to them even more, right?
Right.
And so it was fun. It really was.
It
And
was
I
a
think
lot of fun.
I love
yeah,
that.
buyers really appreciated what you did for them, Terry and Darcy and Beth, and sellers too, because they got top dollar. Just like my little house I was telling you about that we were on at 475 and went for 515, right? They were thrilled. And it was all the work we did getting it ready that we do on any house, no matter what the market, because if you don't, you really are probably going to leave some money on the table.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
agree. Well, I think this was a fun topic.
Wonderful. Good choice.
It was a good one to end our year with, I think.
It's December.
It's December. I know. Can you believe it? And we're still busy.
Yeah.
We're still busy. We're still having
Third
fun.
quarter.
But I'm also just looking forward to, we're going to have a little Kim and team, Terry team party. That'll be so fun.
Coming up. Yeah.
We got a little Keller Williams thing get together. And aren't you guys heading somewhere for New Year's?
New Year's, Las Vegas.
Woohoo! Hey, I may be going to Las Vegas. If Oregon State gets in the December 30th Las Vegas Bowl,
That's
I think we're gonna go.
right.
Oh, fun.
I think but we'll see.
All
I
right,
hope they
Kim and
do.
Terry team party in Vegas.
Well, I have kids flying in starting
Oh, you're
in
staying
14
here.
days. So
Oh.
I'm just thrilled to have all three of my kids and significant others coming.
Love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's lovely.
Family.
Now, is Robert living in the area, Darcy? Or
He
no?
lives in Portland. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
So good,
nice.
he'll be home.
Yeah,
Great.
you get to enjoy him.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for sharing. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
It was. Thanks.
Kim and Terry team is made up of Kim, Terry, Darcy, and Beth. Together, they have over 35 years of collective experience in residential real estate. Between them, they've had previous careers in accounting and finance, customer service, sales, and interior design, and some of them did this while being moms. They share a broad background and perspective on real estate, business, and life. They love what they do for a living and the people they get to do it with. If you would like to contact them, they can be reached at busyburnett.com. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.